Welcome, everybody, to another week of Ghosts in the Scene. I'm your host, Gio. I'm here with my co host, Rob. How's it going, Rob?
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all and non-conforming, non-gender. We see you too. What's up? Uh, we are. I hope you're all protected out there. I hope you're all feeling safe. I hope you're all feeling the warmth of the sun at the moment, and feeling its energy and using it to burn out a lot of bad spirits, a lot of bad ghosts. But you can go a little far, folks. It can actually get so bad where your skin starts to burn because you're burning all the demons off of you that they burst into flames and then it catches you on fire. So it's a little counterintuitive, but you got to rub a little bit of ghost on you, i.e., through sunscreen, because that's actually how it works. It's like vaccination. If you have a little bit, it's white. It's like drinking milk. You got to just like rub it in, put it on your skin, so you know that the bad ghosts are getting off. You're getting a nice tan, and you're not going too far. So that's just a little tip, a little safety tip to start off the night. Or whatever time of day it is you're listening to.
Great tip.
Yeah,
that's a great tip, Rob. And this is certified audio sage for all you listeners out there. So you don't have to, be worried that there's a ghost lurking in your ears. I mean, be clear there are ghosts all around you.
always.
But always. But they're not in your ears right now. So just be happy about that. And thank Rob for that wonderful tip. Thank you, Rob. And we just have to remember that anti-vaxxers in all forms are dangerous to society. Okay? If you don't let a little bit of ghosts into your system, you will suffer a very heavy possession. And it will manifest in other people around you.
Right. And that's what's more important as well, because it's not something that affects just an individual person. It affects the whole community. So, it's not just for you, it's for all of us. But I think, if you're in the scene, if you're listening to us, you already know all of this. Yeah,
you guys know. But just tell all your friends that are, anti-vaxxers. Say, are you really an anti-vaxxer? And then when they ask you, well, what do you mean? You say, well, I mean, do you put ghosts inside of you? Do you let ghosts inside of you a little bit, just for a little while, so that you don't get possessed at a later date? We have to get used to ghosts. And when they say no, because most people that are that claim to be anti-vaxxers, they're really not. And so you have to call them out on their BS, and you have to tell them that they're putting your life at risk, and that's not good. That doesn't benefit anyone.
I mean, that's just creating more ghosts, folks. So at the end of the day, you're just letting them win. And it's understandable if they're upset or scared, because ghosts can be scary. Ghosts are scary to a lot of people, and it's very scary to let a ghost into you. But it's just a little bit, and you know what? And the more you do it, the less scared you become, the more relaxed it is, and you just start to realize that ghosts are around you, and that's perfectly fine. So there's nothing to be afraid of.
And it's who you choose. This is about consent and about willingness. There are a lot of ghosts out there that will want to put it in you for a little while, stick it and then run away. But you have to find the ghosts that you're comfortable with, ones that you have a working relationship with, because it's a mutually beneficial thing. They benefit, they get to live for a little while vicariously through your body, and you get to deal with a certain ghost instead of an evil demon. Or you're choosing the ghost that haunts you. And sometimes it's like Casper. You get a friendly ghost. Or, I mean, there's a lot of movies where they talk about ghost friends. And it's one of the more inspirational things that I find in society that keeps me going is the friendly ghost kind of theme in movies. And I think that's kind of what brought us together as a podcast. Like the Casper Casper the Friendly Ghost. Like that movie really was like a documentary to a lot of people in my life because it just rang true to all of us.
It really did. And I hope that all of you listening can take that away as well. But I think for all this aside, I think we need to get down to business though at this point, because there's also big news that's going on. And like an inoculation, some hard-hitting truth will do you some well as well, even though it might hurt a little bit at first. But you'll realize that this is stuff that you need to know.
So right now, probably as we're speaking, you're waiting in line, buying your popcorn with butter, extra butter, and you're gonna get a soda or a slushy. I'm not sure. You can decide for yourself on what you're gonna get. But right now, you might be waiting in line to see the Avengers Endgame movie. I'd like to tell you something. It's already spoiled. There's a spoiler already out, and I'm here to tell you as a ambassador of the spoiler. I want to spoil this for everybody because this is a spoiler straight from Marvel, from the horse's mouth. Rob, before we get into the spoiler, because this is going to shake everybody, do you have a personal affinity for this cinematic universe? Obviously, it's a Disney, but do you like the superhero genre?
The MCU, if you will. I have found this genre. It's hard for me to watch it, is what I'll have to say, because of my sensitivity to the ghosts. And these are ghost machines, all these films. So I have watched some of them, but I've always felt a little uneasy afterwards. I know I am given to certain, sensitivities that not all others are. And I do study, of course, as a professional. I learn as much as I can about these films because it is fascinating at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's very true that to take these movies in is very hard to bear. It is a heavy cross that we carry when we carry around these movies. MCU, right? It's strange that they had to hyphenate or kind of shorten, because it's just too much to take in all at once. To say the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're creating a universe.
It is. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
This is really always the answer, folks. All right. If you're asking a question, how can I learn about the movie? How do you have this information that you said you have these spoilers about this film, where Disney has put this all in the vault where no one can get it? They've moved the vault. We don't even know where it is now. But there are still clues everywhere. MCU, those are letters associated with numbers. A1, B2. And all of our math heads, you're in the scene. But we look at MCU. M is 13th. Already starting off with a pretty spooky start. Not lucky.
13. Wow.
C, 3.
3.
So already we got 2 3s off the bat.
That's U, 16 right there, right?
16. U, 21. 2 plus 1 is 3.
God. Wow. Another 3. 21 minus
37.
3.
Lucky numbers for Disney.
37.
They hit the jackpot on this one.
Oh my God. So right there, guys, if that doesn't give you chills, you're wearing too many layers. Maybe take off a jacket or two, because that gave me chills. And I'm pretty warm over here. So MCU, the numbers, and we always come back to the numbers. And so it's time for me to give away the spoiler. I've kept you on pins and needles long enough. When it comes to the spoiler, it was very easy to find out how this movie ends. And they told you. They told you as soon as you were able to find the runtime on IMDb, the ending was written in stone. We already know exactly what happens. So I'm talking about something, it's very simple. So I'm going to break it down for you guys. The last movie that was released was called The Avengers Infinity War or Infinity Wars, right? I'm not sure if the war is still going. I'm guessing the war is still going because it's not, the end of the Infinity Wars. It's just the Infinity Wars. So this movie is literally about a war. This guy Thanos, and he has his own army from space, and yada yada yada. I don't want to give you, you're not paying for a ticket, so I'm not going to give you the entire cinematic experience that I have to give you. So let me just get to the point. Now, let's look at the numbers. The runtime, Rob, you told me was 3 hours.
Not just 3 hours, it's 3 hours and 1 minute.
Okay.
So after 3 hours, you're still going to be sitting there for a whole nother minute in that theater.
Wow. 1 extra minute. And you would think that doesn't
60
mean
seconds.
That doesn't mean jack, right? But you're right. It's 60 seconds, and that matters. So
Yes.
we did the math. That's 181 minutes. 181. If you were to write that down, go ahead and this is a mental exercise moment for you guys. This is a recurring segment we have, the mental exercise moment. So do the infinity, right? And right there with your finger. And I want you to do the 1 on one side and 1 on the other side. So that's 181. That's what it looks like. Now flip it right on its side. That's infinity in between 2 bars, which means the infinity has gone to jail. So the end of the Infinity Wars from the first movie is Infinity goes to jail. They capture Infinity and they put him in the clink. They put him in jail. They lock him up. Solitary confinement. Bread and water. Who knows what Infinity likes to eat? But they're not giving him what it likes. They're giving him whatever they're giving him. So that's a major spoiler for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. But that's not for me. That's from Disney. You can thank Disney for that one, or you can blame Disney. I'm not sure where you land on that. So, what do you think about the ending? Do you think it wraps up the Marvel MCU, the first leg, Infinity going to jail? Do you think that's a good ending?
I mean, good, bad, whatever you think. I mean, to me, I'm trying to play the larger game of what's Disney doing, right? Because we talk a lot about that on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They're making these movies for a purpose. You know, we're all going out, we're all seeing them. They're making a cultural experience. Think of it as a ritual, as a seance, if you will, a public seance where you all go together and they throw these movies at you with high octane ghosts possessing everyone in the theater, hundreds of people at a time. So to me, you know, Disney's Endgame is also seen within this film as well. So they're, in a sense, putting Infinity into jail. They want to contain Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have the power that comes with that as well is pretty remarkable. To be able to access something that is infinite. You could only presume it would give you infinite power or whatever it is you want.
Of course. And this is a long game that they've been playing. This is like 11 years in the making, which is interesting that they're not done yet. It's funny how they say, like, this is not the ending, right? This is just like a finale to an arc. And it's interesting when you kind of ask yourself, okay, well, this is the first step. Infinity is now in jail. What's next? What is the reality that they're making where Infinity no longer exists? It's in jail. It can no longer exist as Infinity anymore. So, definite ending. There's definite ends everywhere. Infinity, there's no infinity basketballs. There's not infinite space. You know? There's everything is finite because they've put it in jail. What's next? What are they going to change? And what is the public, what are we willing to accept? Because it seems like if we're willing to let Infinity go to jail, we'll let water be stone, we'll let the air be, gravel, we'll let, who knows, what's next was my question.
I mean, it definitely limits the amount of ghosts. There's no more infinite amount of ghosts at this point. Disney has made a cap, so therefore it makes it scarce, right? Like it's a resource.
Oh my god.
And as soon as you make it something that is scarce, that means whoever has the most of it has the most control.
And
because if it's infinite, anyone has as much as they would ever want ever. But as soon as there is a limit, whoever has the most of it has the most power.
Wow. And we've talked about the fact that Infinity Ghost is proven by math. And now that they have put this wrench into the entire kind of clockwork of reality, I mean, you're completely right, Rob. This changes everything. The fact that Infinity is no longer able to exist means that ghosts are now a privatized industry. It's like they hoarded all of their resources. They scraped for every single ghost they could. They went to every single location. All the Hollywoods of the world have been tainted by Disney. We've proven that. And now that Infinity Ghost no longer exists, they have all the power. They're starting their own streaming service. They have Star Wars, a literal starport coming to Disneyland. This is intergalactic travel in plain sight. This is not, this is not some Area 51 where we only know from leakers and whistleblowers. This is literally on the surface of, in Anaheim.
They have it all.
It's in plain sight.
And it's not just the Marvel comic universe now. And as you said, it's also, it's The Simpsons. It's the X-Files.
Oh my God.
They own Scully and they own the entire X-Files. They have the whole box in their office now.
Mickey Mouse is thumbing through the X-Files right now, and he's probably being like, oh, I know that monster, oh, I know that guy, oh, hey, and he's probably going to point to somebody in the hallway, hey, they got a file about you in here, ha ha ha, and they'll throw it away. And they're throwing away files, evidence, and frankly, this is indicative of large companies and of people that want the truth to be hidden. They hide stuff, they throw stuff away, they make evidence disappear, and whether they give it to a ghost, I'm not sure how they make it disappear, but it goes away somehow. And it's sad to say that this is the reality that they're creating, that we are letting them create. Even if we're not fans, like you said, Rob, it's a spell, and it is being played for billions of people. And so all of that energy creates the reality around us. The fact that enough people liked Star Wars that ghosts and the American government let it be okay. They said, okay, you know what? We have the technology. We've had it since the 60s. but we'll finally show the public what we can do because they believe in Star Wars enough. And they let it become a reality. So for the Marvel thing, superpowers, superhuman people, I mean, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy that I think is going to go very, very wrong. You're going to have some strong people wake up someday, and they're going to do some very bad things. But we also have the fact that, like we said, they're being filmed all over the place. And they're also being filmed in Atlanta, which is, Rob was saying, this is kind of off screen, that since they film in Atlanta, they can film anywhere. Like it's some kind of, like, basically from Atlanta, they can take the starport to anywhere they want in the world. So it's like it's the perfect filming location.
Truly, it's like that's where they filmed the entirety of their Avengers Endgame. And and as you're all in the scene as well, there are Stargates in Atlanta, in the South, and Disney owns those too. Go figure. And think about the implications of this as well. This is just the beginning. They're setting these up. They can hop around from Los Angeles back to Atlanta, back up to Washington D.C. I think we talk a lot about the reverse Underground Railroad, but maybe they're replacing the tracks, or maybe it's just obsolete altogether. Because with the Stargate, you don't need a railroad anymore.
It's
so
true.
There's no more concept of any railroad. Any straight line leading anywhere. It's suddenly become a three-dimensional map. And my head is spinning because I'm doing the math right now, and my head's about to explode. So, I'm cooling off. I've got way too many digits up there.
Too many numbers, bro. Chill out. You got to relax. Stop thinking in 3D space. It's too much. Too many vectors. We have to remember that we're investigating and we have to act professional. We can't take on more than we can chew. And it's just me and you right now, Rob. Obviously, the listeners, thank you for being in the scene. But as investigators, we have to pace ourselves, man. Because if we burn out, there's no one else that's going to shine a light on what we can shine a light on. So we have to stay strong for everybody's sake.
But this is, I think I want to just make important to let everyone kind of know as well. It's like, this is what we're dealing with, This is a whole new level. We need to be stepping it up. We need to, but this is also something that is impossible for any one of us to take on. And I know this is something that we keep on saying. This is a power that, if we all yield, becomes stronger than all of us. And the idea of getting infinity back, and and that means that infinity is for all of us. Have as much as you want. It's infinite.
And that's infinite happiness. And we're fighting our own end game right now. Like when I think about the MCU, it's hard not to think about us. I mean, you hear my
Nico,
dog.
Yeah. He hears the ghost.
It's us. We are fighting our own infinity war, right? With the bad ghosts, with a demonic empire that stands against us, Warner Brothers and Disney. I mean, we have so many enemies, and it's like we are the superheroes of our own story, right? You're the Captain America, I'm the Iron Man, and we're fighting, and then sometimes you get lost, and sometimes I'm hanging out with billionaires like Bill Yates, and this is very parallel. It's like they're ripping from our lives, basically, almost like everything. But now, when it comes to it's like they're ending our story before we can end it, right? And they're giving it a false ending where we put Infinity in jail, and that's not what we would do. Because That's like, and honestly, okay, I feel like it's like if they only watched season 1 of our show Ghost in the Scene, that's how they would write the ending. That we put Infinity in jail because Infinity Ghost would go into jail, and that's good, right? Maybe for us when we were naive.
So we
But
thought.
we're evolved, guys. We think with our hearts now. We have empathy for ghosts. So we're not going to let all ghosts go to jail like they want to. And Infinity is going to stay free because infinite love and infinite peace, that's all there too, you know? And we didn't realize that early on, but now it's so clear. But Disney, they're so cynical and they're so, like they just kind of saw a snapshot of who we were at a moment and they used that and it's like that's not who we are anymore. And I feel bad that billions of people are going to see that and think that we're assholes, you know? And we're not that anymore.
I mean, I'll let them think as they will. I'm not going to force anyone to have any opinion. And I realize there's a lot of people that hate us as well because this is a hard thing to fight and not everyone understands. And as we were saying before, like with the vaccines, ghosts are scary. So when we go out there and we say, don't be afraid of ghosts, that's a scary thing to overcome. And I understand if people lash out at that. And, I don't blame them for that either. And we need to be all above that. And that's, all of us, that's all of us on the street team. That's you. You are the Captain America of your story. Remember that. That's copywritten by you. So that's pretty dope. We're into that.
That's
so
right. So
yeah,
we're all heroes, and no matter what happens after this, Disney's going to make more movies. They call it the end game, and it's almost like it's the perfect branding for them because they want you to believe like it's the last one so that everyone's going to go and see it. And then lo and behold, there's going to be another bajillion other movies. So it's not the end, it's just the beginning. And they got that right, at least with us. If they continue to watch and mold their movies after what our show has become, then I'm looking forward to seeing what they do because it's going to evolve into hopefully a more tolerant cinematic universe. Hopefully they figure out that Infinity is a good thing and they let it out of jail at some point. So I'd say let's start the hashtag. Let Infinity out of jail, or let's see, what's a good hashtag, Rob?
Let Infinity free. Your street team, shout out to us as
How
well.
about bail Infinity? Or hashtag exonerate Infinity. That's going to be hard to spell, guys, but you're smart, and I know you can do it. Hashtag exonerate Infinity.
And I don't want to paint anybody or anything as a monolith as well. I understand, there are people that I don't think have ill will who work for Disney as well. And I understand, like I was saying before, like, when we say that it's infinity and we say infinity love, I think we also have to realize that also means there's infinity hate and infinity destruction as well. And that's very frightening and that's very powerful as well. So to know that that's out there in the world, I understand and like you said, this is something that we would have done. We understand, we empathize with the reaction of wanting to box that up. But also, I think what the naive part about that is when you box up infinity, that energy isn't going away,
Oh my God, yeah.
It's only going to build. And I don't know, and if you're worried about not being able to control it, if you build it up and then let it out, then that's a whole then help us all.
Oh my God, Rob, I think you just solved it, man. I mean,
think about Ghostbusters, right? like that's canon. That's like one of the first. What
Mhm.
happens when they're forced to turn the energy off? And they couldn't. Maybe it's not even anyone's fault that it happens. At that point, it was the city regulators. Whatever. It could be
Right.
anything. But the ghosts can bust out.
They get out. Here's what I think is happening. I think you thought a couple steps ahead of them and really hit a truth that they didn't think that we would know. So we obviously they're not stupid. We know that they have think tanks, they have very, very rich and powerful people that do a lot of their thinking for them. So we know that. So let's get down to the fact that they have all of this in mind. They know all of this. They know that they're going to capture Infinity, they're going to box Infinity. They know that the energy is going to build up. So what if that is their plan? You jail Infinity, right? And it's like a beehive that just starts to buzz and kick, like a baby that's about to, get birthed. It's kicking the mommy's stomach, the uterus, kicking through, trying to punch a hole through the wall, trying to break itself free. This is the reaction that they're looking for. I'm not sure what scientists they have on staff that want to try this experimental energy technology. I'm not sure what they're trying to do, but it's leading to a head. I'm not sure when exactly. The time is ticking down now. Once you've jailed Infinity, and this is starting on Friday when it gets released, the time will start to tick down. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm really afraid. Rob, what do you expect to happen when Infinity finally blasts out of jail?
I'm at this point, looking at the numbers, it's basically expecting the unexpected. It's complete chaos. My readings, I don't have the right logarithms. I'm working with the street team. We're pounding away, but when we'll definitely come with some more conclusive answers once we get that. But this is unprecedented. We're not even sure our metrics are completely calibrated correctly for this scenario.
If what my calculations are saying is true, we could be going full mandala.
Wow.
A full mandala, a turn of the mandala dial on our universe. We could be living in an entirely alternate reality. I don't know what we would even be. We could be like the Shape of Water. Like if all of us were the alien river monster, and one of us was a human. It could be that kind of reality. I don't know what we're going to be living in. But you could thank all of the actors and all the actresses and all of the directors, all of the writers, everybody that contributed to this franchise of movies. Thank all of those people for turning you into a lizard person when it happens, because they're to blame.
But Gio, I was saying there's no one person here because this is bigger than all of them as well. They are cogs in this machine, and it's their faces. I think Disney wants us to hate them. Of course, they're going to put them all over the billboards. It's a bait and switch. You're not actually supposed. The movie is irrelevant. What happens actually in the movie doesn't matter, other than the fact that they're trapping Infinity in a box. And it's bigger than these players. I mean, to Disney, these people are mincemeat. Obviously, in the last film, they did not have any problems with getting rid of almost half of their entire cast. So, goes to show how they feel about them. But at the same time, don't trust. These are people that have been exposed to high paranormal activity. There are some strange circumstances that are going around them. Be suspicious. I would say don't be necessarily angry or aggressive, but be suspicious. Be knowledgeable that these are possessed people, and you're not necessarily going to get the truth from them, or what they say is going to, on the surface level, what they're saying is not going to be the true meaning.
it's all like the monkey's paw. Like they'll give you a good advice or they'll give you something, but you'll be paying for it down the line. That's the way it is with certain ghosts, with certain people. And so let's leave the end game there. We know exactly what they're doing. We now informed all of our fans. Hopefully, you guys can tell everybody else that we know they're on watch. That they've put Infinity in a box, and the experiment is going to happen, whether we like it or not. I mean, it's already happening. So let's all just hope and pray that they know what they're doing. The scientists there. Hopefully, they have Freddie Mercury working on this, and some scientists. Stan Lee. Hopefully, the ghost of Stan Lee and Freddie Mercury are safeguarding this experiment. So let's transition. We have the final installment of a series that we were doing. Now, when I say final installment, I mean final major installment. This is going to turn into a segment of ours because, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. There's just too many Hollywoods, Rob. I was researching this week. I started to look, and literally I just Google page after search after search after search. Every time I saw something, it was haunted. Every time I saw something, it had a paranormal feel to it. Every city I visited virtually on the internet, it just scared me. My teeth were chittering and chattering. It was, I mean, it was not. I was sweating. So I can't do this all in a row. This isn't something that I can continue to do on a weekly basis. Is visit these haunted cities. So I want to break this up. I want to make this informative. I want to show everybody the Hollywoods of the world, and I apologize that I just can't do it as a feature because as a main standalone episode, because honestly the ghosts of Atlanta, they're still knocking at my door. The Bollywood ghosts, they won't leave me alone.
I mean, that makes total sense, and I think it speaks to our mantra of safety first, practice ghost safety first and foremost. And that starts with us as investigators, because we expose ourselves to a lot of ghosts. So we need to do so mindfully. So I appreciate you being honest about that. And that goes to all of you out there. If you're feeling burnt out from paranormal activity, it's okay to take a break. We're always here. We're always on the scene. So, even if this is your first time back in a while, we're here with you. And we're following the same advice, but we want to make sure that you're up to date. So we're going to keep on tacking on some of these as we can. And because we know the insight is important, and we know there's a lot of stories, and there's a lot of people that need to share their stories, their ghost stories as well. And we'll be bringing those to you. So stay in the scene.
Exactly. So we have one last little bit of information because, like I said, I did a lot of research this week, and I just want to talk about. This is going to be one of the ones that we're going to hit very hard soon. But this is an article that I found that was truly just paranormally bizarre. So this is an article written in 1996 by the New York Times. So a paper in New York City writes an article about Miami. It's titled Miami,
the Gray
Hollywood.
Lady.
We'll say it again.
Oh, the New York Times, they call it the Gray Lady.
That's haunted as fuck. The Gray Lady? Okay. So a haunted woman wrote an article in 1996. The Gray Lady writes an article. Miami is the Hollywood of Latin America.
Wow.
So if you guys don't know, Miami is a part of America, and it's on the East Coast. This is a little geography lesson for you guys. It's at the bottom. It kind of looks like a little ding dong, kind of flapping at the bottom of America, right? or like a little tail, like a little
Mhm.
monkey tail. So that little monkey tail is not in Latin America, and it's nowhere near Latin America. If you go to like South America, that's kind of closer to Los Angeles, actually. If you just go further south and further south through Mexico, you can access South America. But Miami's not closer to there, so I don't understand what they mean by this article. And
There's the Caribbean as well, but I mean, it would take a lot to swim out to each island.
exactly, and just to say that it's the Hollywood. And here's what kind of strikes me as interesting. So I read the article. We read articles here. We don't just read the headlines. Obviously, we're scientists. So I read and I looked, and they're saying that it's this guy Jaime, right? And Jaime has a show that he broadcasts to Peru, to Lima, Peru, which I have on hand that it is very haunted in Lima. That's neither here nor there. I don't want to get into that right now, but Lima is very haunted, people. So be careful when you're out there. So we have that entire bridge from South America, from Lima, Peru to Miami, with this guy broadcasting his show. So I looked into him. So Jaime, right? Jaime Bailey, Bayly. He's been doing his show since 1986.
Wow.
If you guys have been following, 1986 is a year that has been put into question. We don't know if it's like significant as far as if it's a good year. We do think that it has to do with the fact that there are 4 sixes involved with 1986.
Right.
And the fact that there are 4 sixes, because we've talked about 1996, 2006,
There's a balancing.
1666.
Right. And there's a balancing power between having a right side up 6 at the end and the 9, the upside down 6 on the other side of the infinite 8. So there's almost a sort of yin and yang balance to the year, you could argue.
And so for some reason, this year keeps on coming up. So obviously we're going to have to look into that. That's just a note for us for the future, that this is something we're going to have to look into. But Jaime Bailey, he is an interviewer. He interviews famous people from Latin America. So he brings talented people from Latin America to Miami and interviews them. So it's almost, so this is why they call him, or his studio and the entire kind of industry that serves him and all those people there, as the Hollywood of Latin America. And you may ask, the plane bills, the transportation, the taxis, that must be a lot of money. How does he do it?
Mm-hmm.
And Rob, you said something off camera that really struck a chord. Obviously, Cape Canaveral is right around the corner. It's in Florida. So we have a means of transportation that is not an airplane. It's something much faster, much more efficient, because like we've said, they've had the ability to fly spacecraft since the 60s, even before that. So what I'm wondering is, whoever made this report, whoever wrote this report down in the 90s, 96, the Gray Lady, whoever, I'm not sure what ghost wrote this. They couldn't actually tell us the entire truth, right? They only really talk about this guy Jaime and the fact that he transports people, but they don't say how. We had to kind of infer that. And
obviously this article has been redacted.
It seems to me there are some missing phrases. It just doesn't look right. So we're working with an incomplete investigation. We're working with somebody who probably wrote something, a very well detailed document that was meant for the people to read, but somebody got in there and, with their dirty little fingers smudged some of the words and blacked out some of the words, and we're stuck with what we have. Because we're experts, we were able to kind of make the bridge that they're using Cape Canaveral and they're transporting people. But we have to also remember, Rob, if we're not mistaken, Cape Canaveral is being used by SpaceX, which is in tandem working with the Reverse Underground Railroad, which leads to the White House, right? And so follow me here, because further down in the article, it actually says that a lot of the Latin American people that would visit this show and visit the other filming locations in Miami, they would live at a mansion that was once the home of Richard Nixon. So the Reverse Underground Railroad has been there since the 70s. I mean, Cape Canaveral, the reverse. I mean, so when
since
we
the 60s, but it's obviously it's been kept in use.
Of course.
No one took it down. No one removed the railroad. So obviously they're still up and down using it, and this is evidence of that.
And they have, so not only do they have the Reverse Underground Railroad, they have Cape Canaveral, and they have use of all kinds of Latin American stars and all of their powers. We have it's like an influx. They don't bring, I don't want to say talentless people. I'm not going to say that there's a bunch of talentless people. I'm just saying that they bring the most talented people. You know what I'm saying? To them to perform and to interview. And so when they do that, it's like they're collecting totems, like little charms on a charm bracelet. And so this is something happening in Miami, which is not close from or not far away from Disney World and all of that. So I mean, there's a lot that we could investigate here. But like I said earlier, it's just too much. And there are just too many Hollywoods. Everything is so interconnected that the hauntings, I can only drink so much holy water in a day. I have to have a catheter. I pee so much. So this is a to be continued.
Yeah, if you're peeing a lot into your catheter, check that out. It might have ghosts in your urine. So please check your catheters.
And bless your water and bless your pee as it's coming out. You can do that. Everybody can do that. That's a safety. Bless your pee as it's coming out of you. Just do a quick, little sign of the cross as you're peeing. And you could bless your pee, and that'll bless your toilet. That'll bless the sewers. That'll bless your septic tank. I mean, it's a positive thing you could do that'll just set off a chain reaction of good and peace throughout your day. Just do a little holy water on your pee. So, to be continued. This is a lot to chew, and it's like a hefty jerky. Your jaw's a little sore. It's like you were in a boxing match, and it tastes a little funky, but we're gonna have to swallow it all the way down and really get the nourishment that we can from this, because there's a lot of nutrients in this jerky. We just have to be tough enough to absorb it. So until next week, Rob, it's always a pleasure doing the show with you. So for everybody else, stay in the scene.
Keep your eyes on the screen, everyone. Protected, of course. Your shades, your sunglasses, your non-prescription glasses. That's fine. Your gloves. You know the whole kit. Everybody, bring some holy water around, and throw it on any of your electronics that are acting up. That will help. They will not be glitching out anymore. I will say that for sure. And yeah, stay extreme,
All right, take care. All right, real quick. We forgot to talk about Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's always there.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
There were so many other things that we talked